There is a law office of Martin Druyan and associate attorneys. My name is Roman Sage, and Martin Druyan we are here. And we would like to address today a lot of changes, a lot of issues concerning new immigration policy in the United States.
Sure. I want to say hello to everybody. I just want to say we are Asylum super lawyers. You can call us 24/7. We have offices in New York, Florida, but we are all around the United States. What number should they call you at, Roman?
They call 347-961-9446. You will see this number below this video, 347-961-9446, and also your Martin phone number, 917
861.
4836, correct?
Yes. And we also have a number which works sometimes, 1-800-877-ASYLUM, because we are the super asylum lawyers in the United States, and we are super lawyers. So introduce Asylum.
Yes,
How do people get asylum all around the world?
so all around the world, to get an asylum, first of all, you need to be in the United States. Before January 2025, it was not super difficult task because you could cross the border through Mexico and claim for asylum at the southern border. But today, as you may know, something have been changed, and today you need to physically be in the United States. Moreover, if you decided to cross the border, technically you can do that, but there is a presumption and there is a law which is affecting since I think January 20th, 2025. If you are not Mexican, you're, for example, from Russia, Belarus, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, any other country which doesn't have a mutual border with the United States, and you cross the southern border, means you are not eligible for asylum in the United States unless you suffered some physical harm or persecution in Mexico, in a country from which you directly enter the United States.
Okay, but Roman, let's focus in and simply somebody in Russia, in the Ukraine, in Europe, wants political asylum. To get political asylum, their life is in danger. The police are persecuting them, the government. They need proof, and they need to bring this proof and bring it all to the United States border and present themselves at the border. Simply, how do they do this?
Okay, first of all, it's a good question. Another one, you have to be persecuted based on one from five reasons: nationality, race, religion, particular social groups, or political opinion. If you're persecuted because, for example, you didn't pay taxes in your country, it doesn't mean you're eligible for asylum, even though you suffered from significant persecution. Second one, your persecution should be sufficient. It means past persecution should be threatening your life, your freedom, your health. Otherwise, immigration service and particularly immigration judge will consider you did not suffer sufficient past persecution, no asylum. So let's imagine.
Okay, so let's simplify it.
Yes.
Because the client we have people who want asylum in Russia.
Right.
They're scared of the police. They're taking part in demonstrations. These are people who have had asylum claims with us, and they get paperwork and proof because they need medical reports. They need uh, proof that the police are arresting them or summoning them and harassing their family. The family could tell us also emails, proof they're in protests. So they have this documentation and they're going to travel to the United States, right?
Yes,
To
they're gonna
present.
travel. Correct. At the southern
And what
border.
do? They present at the border. Most people use the Mexican border.
Yeah, Mexican border. If we are right now speaking only about people who cross the border, 99% is a Mexican border, but they need to provide this uh, evidence, including their written declaration about facts, what happened against them in Russia, for example, to the CBP ICE DHS officer.
So
Who
they
you
present at the border
correct
to the border people.
officer,
And we
right?
could help with this, right?
Yes,
We
we
could
can
help
help
them
them.
prepare their statement in advance, right?
Yes, if you are in Mexico, so you can call us directly, email us. Just we provide a first consultation. Then upon that, we could work with you forward and prep your declaration and legal advising you concerning crossing the border and
Okay.
bringing
And
this
and
information.
what's the number? Give them your number again, Roman.
Yes,
Because help
347.
them. They could call you from Russia, from Ukraine, and
Yes.
you talk to them a little to help them get political asylum documentation. What's your number?
Yeah, 347-961-9446. 347-961-9446. We're actually in each messenger. We're in Telegram, WhatsApp, Viber. You could email us even.
And
Uh,
and what is it under? Or what's the email?
So help.legaladvisory@gmail.com. Help.legaladvisory@gmail.com. Also, you could email us directly to md@druyanlaw.com. md@druyanlaw.com. So let's return to the border, right? So the
Right.
person,
They're at the border and they
yes,
travel through other countries and they
correct.
need a passport and they need documentation what countries they travel through, right?
Yes, yes. And also,
And
if
they
you
need
have,
money and friends
yes,
because when you get to America, they if somebody's helping them, that's good, right?
correct. Yeah, definitely, you need a sponsor, and this sponsor should be United States citizen or green card holder who permanently lives in the United States, has a permanent job and permanent place of living. And
But
without
they don't
this,
need a technical sponsor. This is
yes,
just somebody who will help them, right?
correct. And but you need to provide proof of such person to the DHS for being released from detention. Without this sponsor, without this person, nobody could release you. Even though, for example, you ask for bond from an immigration judge, the immigration judge couldn't release you under bond condition if you don't have a sponsorship in the United States. Means you don't have a place where you can heading to and stay over there till your case will be resolved in the immigration court.
So that's another important thing. They
Right.
need passport. They need a sponsor. They
Right.
need proof of why they're in trouble, like they're protesting, they're against the government, and they don't want to be arrested and sent to war. So all of this, they get to the border, they present, they have a sponsor, and we could help with this, right? How could we help?
Correct. Yes. First of all, our help starting from the first consultation. We evaluate your chances, your case, uh, whether or not you truly suffered from persecution, whether or not your persecution was based on some five groups: political views, religion, race, particular social groups, etc. Second one, we legally advise you how to write it down in your written declaration, because a lot of people, they don't understand and they don't know because they're not super experienced with that.
The way we are.
Yes, how to explain what's going on, why I'm claiming for asylum, especially in the United States. And this task, this is our job to help you and legally advising you how to do that. Second one, if you have a dependents, wife, kids under 21 years old, you need to prove not only their ID, but also proof of your family relationships. What does it mean? You need to provide a copy of your marriage certificate, of your kid's birth certificate, where you and your wife have been stated as parents. Also, if your document is not in English, this document should be translated into English. Translation should be certified. It means the person who did translation of this document should sign below his name, his address, his phone number, and put the date of this translation. This requirement is guided by immigration court manual. And remember, it was like few months ago we got a case, and the DHS government council raised an issue like, where is the phone number of the translator? Of course, we fixed that in the court during proceeding. People got an approval of asylum claim, but just avoid any unintentional mistakes. Just put everything on time and in right position. Yes,
That's
Michael.
an important point, that being our office experienced asylum lawyers filing all the paperwork after the client is admitted to the US, not in detention, living with a sponsor, and it could be anywhere in the United States. And we are helping with the filing because, let's be honest, this is not that easy. In 2025, the government in the United States is not making it easy, but it can be done to get political asylum. Right, Roman?
Yes,
We could
can be
do
done.
this.
Can be done. But same time, some people got a criminal record during their case is pending. It means their chances to get an asylum diminishing so rapidly and almost to zero. Please avoid any criminal activity in the United States. It doesn't matter, intentional or unintentional, because first bar to get an asylum is felony. It could be federal felony or state level felony. Felony, it's a crime where punishment could be more than 1 year of imprisonment.
And now we're talking about somebody who's been admitted to the United States, and they filed their border statement. They filed something called a 589, they're released to the sponsor, and they're getting work permission. And it's now we have clients, and our clients, are not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But what happens, getting involved with the police in the United States at all creates problems. The type of cases you remember that we've had, people are drinking alcohol and
Yes.
driving, getting arrested for drunk driving, getting arrested for driving without a license, getting arrested for traffic
Shoplifting.
infractions
Yes.
because you don't have a license, getting arrested for having alcohol in the car. You're not allowed to drive around with alcohol. You can't drive when you've had drinks. That's driving while impaired. Um, we've had people that's, they forget to pay for things in stores. They walk
Yeah.
out of restaurants by mistake and they don't pay. And then they get arrested, and it creates all kinds of problems. So it seems silly, but we're telling everybody, please, in the United States, don't get arrested.
Right.
But what's
And
funny, you talk.
yes, there is three uh, popular crimes committed or by immigrants. First of all, it's a DUI, driving under influence. Don't drink and drive. Second one, it's shoplifting or any crime associating with not payment. For example, forget to pay for some
Food,
items,
beer,
food, beer,
right.
yeah, clothings, fraud.
And walk out of the store and not
Yes,
pay,
correct. And third one,
even if it's a small amount of money,
yeah,
because you don't have a green card. You're only waiting for an asylum adjudication, creates problems. Police give you, in some cities, to ICE, and then you're in detention and you're headed for deportation and removal, right?
yes. And third one is a domestic violence. When couple has a skirmish between each other, husband decided to teach her wife how to live in with him, or vice versa, wife decided to teach his husband. So it's inappropriate in the United States. Forget about your culture nuances or country which you are from. If you're in the United States, all persons are equal. There is special rules, acts, which protect women against domestic violence. And moreover, your wife that could be a victim of domestic violence, the second step is to apply for green card as a domestic violence victim. And if yes, means your position is against her, and definitely you'll face all aggravations in this proceeding, I mean criminal proceeding, because there is the victim wanting to get documents. So
And
no.
this is what we've seen in our
Yes,
office. These
correct.
are the problems that we've seen. And I want to mention, it's interesting that if you're getting arrested in the Ukraine by the Ukraine police, Belarus secret police, the Russian secret police, that helps your asylum claim.
Right.
But if you get arrested in the United States by our police, it hurts your asylum claim, right?
Yes, for example, today, even today, it's early June, right? 2025. There is a mass protest against ICE, for example, in Los Angeles, California. And people who are arrested over there, they'll be deported 100%. Even though they were peaceful, they didn't commit any violence, If you are arrested at this mass protest on the street today in LA and you don't have papers, 100% you'll be deported if you don't have a citizenship. If you have a green card, the process to withdraw your green card could be initiated by immigration service. So today is different time we live in. You need to be so much careful with your steps, double thinking every time.
In the United States.
Yes.
But getting arrested and getting hurt by the police and hospital records in Russia, Belarus,
Ukraine, Kazakhstan, doesn't matter. Yes.
all
You'll get
these
asylum.
countries, we've even had from India, we've seen Israel, all of these countries, asylum is helped by that documentation that the police and secret police and government police in these countries are going to harm the asylum applicant, right?
Right, right. And second, and the last one, when you're in the United States, you don't have criminal record, you have a past persecution, sufficient past persecution. Final element you need to prove in the immigration court to grant you asylum is a well-founded fear for future persecution. This requirement could be satisfied automatically if you suffered from past sufficient persecution. But what if not? What if, for example, you continue to disclose your political opinion being in the United States? You went on the street with a protest against Putin, against the war in Ukraine, against Lukashenko, or you made a financial donation to people who are fighting against Russian in Ukraine. So it means you could have a sufficient, well-founded fear of sufficient persecution in future if you coming back to your country. It's also final element, but sufficient element. We actually got few cases. We got a few wins, asylum wins. In this year that people they didn't get a past persecution but they got a sufficient fear of future persecution because they continued to disclose their political opinions being in the United States and they got an asylum here in the United States. It's super important for you not to forget about where you're from. Just be involved. Okay, not physically. Today, internet, social network, you could post anything on your Facebook page, which could be in opposition to your government of your country. So it's also super important, and you need to continue to disclose your political opinions if you want to get asylum approval in the United States.
When you say continue to disclose, what you mean in simple English is that in the United States, clients go on YouTube,
Yes.
they join organizations, they continue from the United States voicing their political opinion for democracy against Putin, against the government of Belarus. These are the reason for political asylum, and they still continue their political asylum here in the United States.
Right.
Now, and that's also important because we, in addition to asylum, we ask for something called withholding removal, and
Yes.
we also ask for relief under Convention Against Torture. These are three protections that everyone around the world by international treaty can come to the United States and get political asylum. But when you get to the United States, they look at your political activity against your old countries, and they want to know, that you're still active, and they ask you about your YouTube account and your emails and your political contributions, because the government asks a lot of questions to determine that your claim for political asylum, Convention Against Torture, withholding of removal is a good claim. Right, Romy?
Right. You're 100% right. And asylum, it's like a creme de la creme. It's a peak of this iceberg. But there is also some protections, such as withholding of removal or protection under Convention Against Torture. That protections also provide you an opportunity to live in the United States, unfortunately, without obtaining green card, but till the end of your life with the work authorization, with social security number. And for some people, it's enough. They don't want to, for example, get a green card because maybe United States, it's not final destination for them in their lives. They want to go to somewhere else, but United States, they consider as a temporary place, as a shelter, okay? It's a give me a shelter. So, and yeah, you don't have only one kind of protection. You could pick a three type of protections, and one of them definitely should work for you if you retain us, Martin Druyan and Associated Attorneys.
And give the number again.
Yes, 347-961-9446. 347-961-9446.
And 917-861-4836. 917-861-4836. Now, something else we should mention is that there's going to be a hearing, and you have to be able to talk about the request for political asylum. And we help you with that hearing. Explain what we do to help our clients prepare for a hearing for political asylum.
Okay, so the most important thing and purpose why you need to testify in the courtroom, because the court should be sure that you are credible. If you are credible, it's a 50% chances that you won this case. If the client is not credible, it doesn't matter how many proofs he provided, what's the basis of his claim, what the rules, bars, etc. It doesn't matter if the client is not credible. Credibility is the lion's share of asylum claim. Because of that, we help you, we prepare you to testify. We suggest you, we're not only working on what to say, do you remember your words, how to answer, what to answer to this particular question. We also help you to how to act in the courtroom, where you need to look at, where your hands should
Everything
be.
about testifying in court.
Yes.
We do this every day, and we help you. And we ask, some clients have to go to the courtroom in person, and some people and us, we could do this on WebEx or
Online,
Zoom.
right.
And family members have to attend, and adults can give evidence and testimony. And something that's important is the government wants, if any address changes, we tell them the address of the applicant and we tell them the apartment number and where they're living. And if anybody has to go to their court hearings, it's very important that you show up. If you don't show up, your asylum petition can be dismissed. And something that's very important, we as lawyers, we cannot tell you the story of your persecution. And the lawyers are not permitted to make up a story for you. Your facts has to come from you. And I warn clients, if you're getting involved with lawyers who are making up stories for you, what happens after a number of clients, the stories are all the same, and then the government figures this out and checks it with a computer, then they could revoke asylum and the lawyer gets into trouble. So you have to bring us the facts. We cannot make up the facts for you. Right, Roman?
Right, definitely. So, what we can do, we could suggest you how to explain logically, how to provide, how to bring these facts to the court. For example, because one fact could be, could have many particular angle of use. Okay, so for me, it seems as a particularly as a asylum. For DHS counsel, it looks like no asylum, and our job is to help you to provide to the court and be credible and with explanation what this particular fact means for your life, for your death, for your freedom if you're coming back to your country.
Now, something else I want to mention is we may think, oh, everybody knows that Russia is a dictatorship, that Belarus is a dictatorship aligned with Russia. But not everybody knows that immigration judges, they ask us to put in, and the State Department issues advisories from the State Department saying that Russia abuses human rights. They have a human rights report, and we get this material together. Anything that we can from Amnesty International. So things that seem clear and obvious, you still need documentation. In 2025, the government is demanding documents in addition to have a story of persecution and fear of death and torture and imprisonment and being sent to war to be killed. The government wants documents. And this is something that we do, right, Roman? We
Yes,
get all this
yes,
documentation together for our clients, right?
right. For example, proofs, evidence of facts, which contains your name, your photo, your face. It's your subjective evidence. It's your personal evidence. You have to provide with us. But uh, human rights report, some news articles, or some stories of prominent people from your country, for example, about death of Alexei Navalny in Russia. We can do that, and we have to do that by ourselves. We know what's problem, what human rights conditions in your country is, and we help numerous clients with that. We prep these reports, we prep this evaluation and provide it with the court for the following using to grant you asylum.
Now, another thing, explain what's the government calls biometrics.
Yes, biometrics. It's a thing, it's a process when DHS, the government, identifies you as your physical person. This is your fingerprints, this is your face, and using this data information for searching in Interpol, International Police database, in an FBI database, that you got a clearance, that you are not threat uh, to the United States. You're not a member of some terrorist organization. You did not commit any attack against the United States. Moreover, you need to follow instructions of biometrics. It means you need to file copy of your application with immigration service and ask them to appoint to schedule your biometrics appointment where your information could be collected by the government. It's so important. Without biometrics, immigration judge cannot resolve your case, cannot hear your
Right.
case on merits.
Roman, I
Yes.
want to mention when our client comes to the border, they take the passport from the client, right?
Right, right,
It's important that the client keep a copy of their passport,
right.
just a copy, and keep a copy of any documents and keep copies of everything, birth certificates, marriage certificates, translated, even the passport now. The government wants translations. Have all this paperwork. And what I even suggest, scan it into the internet, even in an email. So if the papers are lost, you still have it scanned into the internet, because not having this paperwork will delay or cause big problems with an asylum application, right?
Yes, and moreover, under Real ID Act, if you cannot prove your identity, you are not allowed to file for asylum in the United States. Proof of your identity is your national passport or birth certificate. Without such papers, you cannot file for asylum in the United States. It's super important. You need to prove your identity, as well as your dependents, your wife, your kids. Each member, each physical person has to provide their ID.
Okay. And then something else. We've had clients born in Belarus, they go to Russia. In Russia, they protest, they get into trouble. Now they need political asylum. What the
Yes.
immigration court is saying now, well, you want political asylum in the US, you came from Russia, well, why don't you go back to Belarus, where you
Right.
were born?
Right.
So
You
now
need to
we,
claim for both countries of your nationality and your citizenship. If you're a citizen of more than one country, you need to claim for asylum from each country. If you were born, for example, in Azerbaijan, and now you became a citizen of Ukraine, and you claim from Azerbaijan, you need also claim from Ukraine and vice versa. Today, immigration court, because it's part of Department of Justice, they are looking for any possibility to deny your application. And if they found out small, like insufficient possibility to deny your application, they'll definitely do that. You need to prep your application well.
and you need to call us because we are here to help you. We have the experience and the knowledge to get you political asylum. Right, Roman?
Right, right. 347 nine
And we're
six
going to
one nine
mention
four
the
four
number
six.
again. Tell
Yes.
the number in the email.
347 961 9446 and email help dot help.legaladvisory@gmail.com or
Say
md
it
at
again, Roman.
druyanlaw.com. md@druyanlaw.com. So call us, text us, even though you're not in the United States, you're, for example, in Mexico. We provide a consultation via Zoom. It's affordable price, just for more than $100. You'll get answers to your hard questions upon your case. And maybe you'll decide to retain us and we'll prep and legal advise
And
you.
Roman, another thing that we do, if clients have a sponsor, which is important in the United States, we
Right.
talk to the relatives also, right?
Correct. Yes, we keep in touch with all people, relevant sponsors who are interested in this person, of releasing him, meeting him, helping him when this case is adjudicating by the government.
Okay. Now, I do want to mention some other things. Our clients who are in detention, explain how we try to get them out of detention. And we get them out of detention. What do? We're talking
So,
about immigration, ICE, detention, right?
right. So, first,
And it could be anywhere in the US. That's
correct,
what the government does.
correct. First
Okay.
Avenue,
How do we get them out, Roman?
yes,
Out of detention.
First Avenue is to file parole request with ICE officer. For this proceeding, definitely you need to have your passport, have a sponsor, and never committed any crime prior in the United States. Like for the last 3 months is not common way to be released because ICE, DHS, they're all against immigrants, especially today. I'm
But
sorry.
it's possible. We
It's
can
possible, yes,
try to
but
get you released.
yeah,
We want people out of detention.
right.
We don't want our clients in detention.
And
And
Second
let's be
Avenue,
honest,
yeah,
Roman, sometimes the government wants a bond. That means you got to pay some money to the government, to a
right.
bond company, and then they release you out of detention, right?
Yes, under bond condition, and an amount of this bond could be at from 2,500 till 20,000. It depends on decision of ICE officer. And the second avenue is to request bond from immigration judge. But this way only works only if you are not arriving alien. It means you are not cross the border through particular legal way such as CBP-1 program. You are arriving alien, you are not entitled to bond by immigration court. You are only entitled by bond or parole release made by ICE officer. But if you cross the border, if you cross the fence, the river, it doesn't matter, and you were arrested in the United States, on the United States soil, means you're not arriving alien, you are entitled to get a bond assigned by, determined by immigration judge. So there is two common options to be released. Also, if you have some medical conditions such as heart disease or some other kidney disease, etc. So you could be released under this because of these medical conditions. But we see that so rare. It's not a common thing to be released if you have some medical
But that's
conditions.
why it's important the
Yes,
clients talk to us and
right.
we help them. We have all this experience getting people political asylum granted, living here with proper papers, employment authorization, and after a few years, you could apply for a green card, right?
Right. So you
Permanent
could,
resident.
yeah, you can apply for green card when you live in the United States for at least 1 year since your last arrival, you have a approved asylum. You could file for green card with immigration service, and in that way you'll not get any interview with them. All papers will be mailing. Only by mails you'll get your decision, confirmation, etc. So it sounds easy, but not too easy when you working with that, when you feeling every day some nuances, new details, some small things which could uh, turn table, every day, every time with every case.
This is what we do for our clients.
Yes.
And that leads me to another aspect is if people, we hope it doesn't happen, get arrested in the United States, we also represent them in criminal court and try to get those cases dismissed. We try, which helps their immigration case, right?
Yes. Correct. Correct. So,
And
yes, continue, please.
I just want to add, sometimes the immigration court makes mistakes and we take appeals to the Board of Immigration Appeals Court because in the United States, you have appeals from one court to another, more higher courts. We do all of that. It does cost money. Sadly, our help, we do need the payment of legal fees, but we can do and give clients all this help, and our fees are reasonable, and we're not overcharging, but we're trying to help people as best we can, reasonable fees and very hard work, right?
Yes, yes, Martin. And also, we not only focusing on immigration law. If you satisfied with our job, so you could retain us for any other legal issues you got. The most
We
common.
talk to you, but right now we're
Yes.
just going to focus on immigration
Okay.
and asylum in this podcast for YouTube, wherever we're going to post it on
Right.
the internet. Um, we're here to help, but we're
Yes, we're here to
focused
help.